C-Bus.
Okay, so it's been 3 weeks since, almost to the day, since I seeded the back of this lawn. So we're gonna roll up and take a look at it. And normally around 3 weeks is when a customer potentially calls me, and sometimes they'll say, hey, some areas are doing great and they're filling in and other areas are thin, and usually I tell them that's pretty normal. So we're going to take a look and see how this one looks.
An incoming call.
The customer did call me and they wanted to know about weed control. I told them originally that, when we work on a project like this, there was so much growth and so many weeds, there was a good possibility that they would get some weeds growing about as fast as the grass. So we're going to see what the extent of that is and what type of weed it is, so that we can make a decision on how to treat that appropriately. All that being said, let's go talk to the customer and we'll have a look. All right, so I'm back here and it's about what I would expect. Like I said, it's been 3 weeks. I will say that, as I saw in the video, the day that I did the seeding, it poured down rain, a big storm. Unfortunately, after that, temperature spiked. We were 90 degrees and into the mid 90s even for 2 weeks. For 3 weeks now, we've only had a 1/4 inch of rain. One day it rained about a 1/4 inch. After that, we haven't had anything else. So that was concerning to me a little bit. I noted to them to stay on top of the watering. So let's take a look and I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is, 3 weeks in, and a lot of the ryegrass has popped up. Keep in mind that Kentucky bluegrass takes about 20 days to germinate, so barely see any of that. We have some thin spots. That's to be expected through here. Looks like the watering's been pretty decent, and it's filling in rather well. Of course, there's some areas, like I mentioned, that are thicker areas like this that are doing well. And then over here, there is 1 or 2 low spots here, kind of concerning. It's pretty bare over in this area. And I don't know if it's because of water. That's my guess, but it's also, really wide open over here. Probably got hit pretty hard by the sun and the water. As you notice, the areas that are kind of shaded more actually are doing better. And that's probably just because they've retained the water a lot more. So this is typical. I wish all of it looked like it did through here. That's pretty good. Some of these areas like through here are just a little bit sparse, but they're filling in. So what I look for, especially kind of in these areas that aren't so predominantly filled with grass, is I try to make sure that there's some grass growing all through here, so that it can fill in. If there's areas where I don't see any little grass seedlings, like here, I do see quite a few. But if there's other areas that don't have any grass seedlings in there, then that kind of concerns me a little bit at this point. That's one of them over there. So I probably will come back and I'll do a little bit of touch up back in this corner. Other than that, we have some moderate weed growth. That doesn't concern me. What I'd really be looking for in the weeds here is things that I can't control so well. It's going to be grassy stuff, like this. This concerns me a little bit, just because it's harder to control than some of these other things that are growing. I could easily take care of some of these weeds that are growing in here with the selective herbicide once it's time, but I want to make sure we don't slow down the grass growth when we do that. So that's what I see, and I'm going to talk to the customer and tell them what I see, and then we are going to continue the course that we're on. Hey, so it's been a week since I came and looked at it last time, and at that point the grass was coming in pretty good, but there was some spots. They've been having some trouble with the watering, just because it's been 4 weeks now, and in that 4 weeks we've got less than a 1/4 inch of rain total, which is very uncommon for September here. We are in the third week of September now, and we've got a good 30 days to get some more seed. So I've come today to do a little bit of touch-up seeding. So we're going to identify those spots. We're going to do some touch-up seeding, and in the next month we're going to try to get all this grown in so it's thick enough and mature enough as we go into winter. Let's take a look. So first impression here, there is a little bit more grass than what we had last time. Still pretty darn bare in here, but there's more grass than what we had a week ago. Let's go check up in some of these other areas. What I noticed is there's a little bit of wetness right there. This is pretty dry. Matter of fact, it's so dry there's some cracks in the ground. And for ideal optimal seeding and for that all to come in, it needs to be continually moist for about a month. And I know in their situation without the rain, and it's been uncommonly warm, it's really tough to keep it continually moist because they gotta use the sprinklers by hand and move them all around. So you can tell obviously the areas that get shade don't dry out as quick and they fill in a lot better. Any areas like here that get hit by the sun all the time, have significantly less grass. I think through these areas we're doing not so great through here, but up through the main part, the bulk of the yard, we're doing pretty good. Same thing all around. I mean, you look, there's just there's cracks from dryness through here. It's pretty dry. Anytime that I look at these things here, it's just a water issue. It's dry and crumbly, and really the soil needs to be moist all the time for this to come in perfectly. So the only thing we can do here, I think there's probably some seed still under that has not germinated because it hasn't got enough water. But I'm going to go ahead and use a slice seeder and touch up some of these areas, like this bare area here. Some of these areas that we're looking at right by my feet are a little bit thin. There's about, 40% grass there. But when you look at it close, there's grass seedlings all across the area. So when I see grass seedlings all across the area, I know at least there's something for it to fill in. So we get over here and we get to areas where there's like 20% grass seedlings in here. This is where I'm going to try to do some touch up. Ideally, I'm not trying to fault them. I know it's difficult in this situation, but ideally, anytime I walk back here, it should be a little soft to my foot, almost muddy. So really, that's where our hindrance is here, and I'm hoping we can get enough water on this for the rest of this to take off, because I really want it to fill in like it has under this tree on the rest of it. I would hope, normally you can see right here under this tree, it's filled in better. I come down here and I touch it and it's moist to the touch here. Cool and moist to the touch. And that's why this is doing so well in contrast to some of these other areas. They got a bad stroke of luck is what really happened here on the timing. I mean, we did the seeding at the perfect time of the year, really. First week of September is usually, if I were to put a mark on the calendar, the first week or 2 weeks of September is going to be probably your best weeks of the year normally to seed. And then once you get into mid-October, your germination rates start to go down a little bit. But some areas are dry like this, don't have as much grass. Some areas are moist like this one here, has a lot more grass. Anyway, I'm going to get on with it. All I can do right now is put some more seed down. Hopefully we get some more water. Hopefully they can keep up with the watering requirements. And then, this is our last good push because we've got a good 30 days left in the season to grow grass. So that's what I'm going to try to do. If I have to come back a third time to do some touch up, I will, of course. But at the same time, I'm hoping we can get some seed in there and get it germinated here. Luckily, I think we are supposed to get some cooler temperatures, but not for a few days. And unfortunately, there's still no rain in the forecast. So I'm hoping we can get this established enough and we're not looking at battling this again all the way into springtime. But overall, the project has been going pretty well. Just unfortunately, anytime you seed, you don't know what you're going to get weather-wise. And you go for the optimistic percentages of when you have the best success. In this situation, the whole seeding season has been this way across the board. I've had similar results with other customers this year that just couldn't keep up with the water unless they had irrigation systems. So let me get some seeding done and I'll check back with you again after we've had a chance to look at how the new seeding comes in. Incidentally, I'm going to seed this with a slice seeder this time, so I don't bust up the soil too much and kind of disturb what's already going. There isn't enough root base yet, I don't think, to aerate it and overseed it. I'd probably end up tilling it up more, so I'm going to slice seed these areas. You know that time when you drive by the farm field and you look across there after it's been plowed and you see the little dust tornadoes? Well, when I slice seeded it, it looked like that, but 10 times worse. We're talking like a class 5 or something dust tornado. Anyway, I've got the slice seeding done and we're going to come back. I just thought maybe you'd like to see what it looked like after I did the slice seeding. See, now you can see the hatch marks from the slice seeding, and you can see I went a couple directions, and if you look at it, you'll see the pattern. I've got about a 1-inch sort of grid of where the seeder plants the seed. So I did that everywhere it was bare, all through here, especially in this area. But I touched up any areas I saw less than about 50% grass. So yeah, it took me a little longer than expected. It was dry. Hard to see where I was going because it's like a giant dust tornado, but that's what we got to do. And I want to really try to push the water on them, try to make sure they get out here and water it, because that's the only way they're going to get good success at this point. This is our last really good shot for the season. We've got about 30 days to try to grow this in and make it thick. Keep watching. Just a couple notes about that job to reconsider. This has been one of the worst seeding fall seasons that I've ever had, and I've been doing this for probably close to 30 years. We just had that extended drought all through the prime seeding time, which made it very difficult to get the grass to take, and it took maximum maintenance. As we saw in the video earlier, the watering requirements just weren't there. I did some touch-up seeding, and with persistence, we did get the results that we were looking for out of the lawn. But it took some more effort. I did have to lean on the customer a little bit to get the results that they wanted. So I can only do so much as a contractor. And of course, they want great results as much as I do. I want everybody to be happy. So sometimes you gotta, put them to the fire a little bit just to make them get to it. I went back, I did some touch-up seeding because originally I wasn't coming in as thick as I'd like. Obviously, they did the work, they put in the effort, and man, the project is turning out great. Everybody's happy, and just couldn't be better. So, work with a good contractor. Okay, let's get this wrapped up. It is the first week in November now, and I'm back at the job. This is my first look at it in a month. They've got the new fence in. It's looking pretty impressive, so let's take a look at that. And the turf. As you can see, here's the new fence. We're going to go on in the yard and take a look at the turkey. All right. Well, it looks like we do have some good grass here. That's for sure. Looks like they might actually have a backyard come springtime. As a matter of fact, it looks like they have a backyard now. I know some of these areas that were kind of thin have filled in pretty well. Right here through the center, it was thin. I came back about a month ago, and you can still see a few spots here where the slice seeder went through. There's a couple little bare spots, but that should fill in pretty good come springtime. So we are at the end of our growing season. So not expected to get much more growth in here at this point, but I think in the springtime it's going to really take off and thicken up well. A few spots through here actually are from the fence guys, and their loader, their skid loaders they used to put the fence in. So there's a couple little marks here that they had left, but I don't think that's going to be a huge deal. That'll probably settle out. Pretty nice double gate they put in, which will be really nice if we have to come back and service this or for anything that needs to be done. Overall, I'd have to say, I talked to the customer. They are very pleased, and I think that they're definitely on the right track with this one. I think they're going to be happy with the outcome with the new backyard. Around this edge, looks like the loader did a little bit more damage, so we may have to do a little touch-up seeding. We'll find out how well it thickens up in the springtime. There's a few areas here, even where the tracks are, I can still see quite a bit of grass in those areas, and it's matted down but not too rutted. So I don't think that the skid loader damage is going to be that excessive. I think probably the dogs, when they run around inside the fence, are probably going to leave a trail around the outside of the fence everywhere. That's usually what I see in these situations. That's it. Overall, I think it's been a pretty successful project, and I think since we got the trees all limbed up and we got good sunlight through here, good sunshine, that they're going to enjoy the backyard now with the dogs and the kids and have some decent flat space to enjoy. This is the last visit we're going to do through the year. Hopefully you can hear me pretty well. It's kind of windy today. And if you recall, this was all dirt all the way here, even outside of the fence. You can see we've got pretty good growth outside of the fence. Our project boundary was about right here where we started, to give you a bearing. So this is the way it's turning out. Our growing season here is pretty well officially over. This week it's been in the 20s at night. We've been right around 27, 28 degrees almost every morning this week. So the ground temperatures are starting to get down there. We did have some snow flurries last week, a little bit stuck to the ground. We've had regular frost. So that's what we're looking at, from 0 to hero. So the most important thing here is the customer is satisfied, and so am I. And the fence looks great, by the way. I'm pleased with that too. They were smart, put those double gates in, and I'm looking forward to doing more projects like this. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share these videos. Make sure that you ring the bell, that way you get notified. So when I come back in the springtime, I can do a recap video of this one last time, just to see how it fills in after the springtime. Keep watching. I've got more projects I'm going to share, and you know what you know.